still picture the white walls and the sparsely furnished room where I set up a little desk area to start the arduous task of combining Brandon and my households and budgets when we first got married. It was a cold room, and my budgeting skills were icy at best. There were wedding expenses to finish up, new student loan payments starting to come, and two different money systems to combine. My money system was that I tracked everything on pen with paper, like on paper with pen before we got married. And I don't think Brandon tracked much at all because didn't really have any data to go with. He just knew his debt was going down, so he was happy. And there was a lot more to track with both of our things combined. So I wasn't going to use pen and paper anymore. And after much deliberating on different softwares, where to focus, we basically settled on not really tracking much. We had a few like key things we'd focus on, but we wouldn't really like use a software or anything. Little did I know that a few years earlier, another couple had just gotten married and they chose an alternate path. They chose to watch their money very closely. Jesse, the groom, actually created a spreadsheet that turned into a software in 2004. But either I never saw it or I chose to ignore it when I was going through this process, to my detriment. Welcome to the Fife Movement. I'm your host, Amanda Neely. This is the only movement that helps our generation create our unique, feminine, and entrepreneurial path to financial independence. Be sure to subscribe and if you're watching on YouTube, hit that bell for future videos. This week, we're doing a series about YNAB. There'll be a lot of screenshots. So if you're listening to the podcast version, I highly recommend looking for the YouTube links to the video versions if you want to see what I'm doing at any time. But you'll get a lot out of it just listening to the podcast too. So what Brandon and I ultimately decided during that first year of marriage was to focus on keeping any spending we could control to a minimum. Our main goals were to not get fat, to not get pregnant, and to pay off debt. And that worked for a while because at least we were on the same page. We could save money by not bringing sweets into our house, which would also help us not get fat. And then we could use that money to pay off debt and so forth. And we thought we were like geniuses. We had this plan. We were focused on these few goals, but really we weren't making any progress. Years later, the debt was still the same. But, a few years later, when we were starting that business together, we were in that very much the same place when we first got married. There was no significant progress. But two things changed from 2013 to 2014. First, we started working with a financial planner. And then he introduced us to a budgeting software called YNAB. You need a budget. They like to say you've never budgeted like this before. What both of these things helped us finally get is a real plan. And by plan, I mean an acronym: prepare logically, adapt needfully. PLAN, prepare logically, adapt needfully. The financial planner helped us prepare logically for medium and long-term goals like expanding our business, buying a home, dealing with whatever life would throw at us, but with the flexibility to adapt. We're entrepreneurs, by the, if you didn't know that. So we needed, the flexibility to be able to change things when life would throw us curveballs, or the business would go through a rough patch, or, things like that. So he helped us get that big picture, medium, long-term kind of thing. And then YNAB helped us prepare logically and adapt needfully in the shorter term. We could follow the 4 rules to give every dollar a job: prepare logically, embrace our true expenses, prepare logically, roll with the punches, adapt needfully, and age our money. Again, adapt needfully, right? Both of those actions that we took working with a professional and starting to use YNAB have been total game changers for us that have helped us become better than debt-free and increase our net worth dramatically. And really, when I ask why were those choices, why did they lead to that result? I think what happened is with the financial planner, we got really clear on our goals and values so that over the long term and medium term, our values and goals came to the forefront of our minds, right? We knew what those were. And then we jumped into YNAB and we aligned our short term funds with those medium and long term goals so that they would help us achieve those. We got so much clarity through that process as we prepared logically, right? We actually prepared and used some logic. Then, as life changed, which it does regularly for the small business owner in its infancy, we adjusted those short term things that we are doing within our YNAB so that they continued to work towards those long and medium term goals. And sometimes those long and medium term goals would also change, and that would influence our YNAB and what happened on the short term as well. And that's really like continued a lot for the last several years of using YNAB and continuing to work with a professional and even becoming financial professionals ourselves. Today, I found ways to use YNAB to help track that long term and medium term stuff so I have even more impact there. And I even use it for my business. So that's part of why I wanted to share over these next several episodes a little bit more of my experience, how I use YNAB, and how it's really helped me to have more control over my finances and make sure they're working toward my goals and values. For now, what I want to say is something for you to think about today. I actually believe YNAB works best when you followed what's called Rule Zero. I think I actually heard this from Jesse, the guy that created YNAB. His name is Jesse Meacham. He has a great YouTube channel, and he was doing these Whiteboard Wednesdays for a while. And if you go back to episode 1 of Whiteboard Wednesdays, he talks about Rule Zero. So before you sign up for YNAB, before you start following their 4 rules, giving dollars a job, embracing your true expenses, rolling with the punches, and aging your money, Rule Zero is what you can actually do outside of the software, maybe with a nice cup of coffee or a nice dessert in hand, with pen and paper, with a spreadsheet, however you want to do it. And that's to take some time considering your true priorities, those goals and values that drive your life longer term than just this month or this year. What are those things that are really, truly important to you? And what do you want to see accomplished in 30, 40 years, 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, and so forth? And so here's an exercise you can try. First, just list everything you spend money on: groceries, dining out, saving for a new car, saving for retirement, investing, housing, utilities, charitable giving. Just write it all down, spew it out, kind of vomit it out on paper. Then go back through those things and reorder them for what's most important to you. Um, is making sure you're able to spend extra on groceries to have healthy food for your family. How important is that ranked to getting that next car that needs to, actually work so that you don't have to spend money on repairs of your current car, right? There's some tough calls to make, but only you can make them. And then once you've kind of taken all the different things you could spend your money on, debt pay down, et cetera, and you've reordered them, then you can go into YNAB and you can create a budget and customize your budget so that it fits with those priorities and those long-term goals. They've got categories in there. You can reorder them to match the order. And we're going to talk about how you do that in tomorrow's episode. But you do the work outside of YNAB for Rule Zero. So then when you get into YNAB, you have a bigger impact and you can set it up faster. Now, if you already have a YNAB account, you can totally try this exercise too. Keep your YNAB closed, open up a spreadsheet or get out a pen and paper and do the same thing. Write down all the different things you could spend or you do spend or could spend your money on, including saving, paying off debt, investing, and then reorder it. And then go back to your YNAB and say, how does this match or how is it different from what I've just written here, right? Or recorded. And again, keep your YNAB closed so you're not persuaded by anything that's already there. Now, in future episodes, you'll see images of how I've prioritized my own categories so that they align with my short term, so that my short term aligns with my medium and long term. So, what I want you to do today is be sure you do this yourself before you see mine and they persuade you as well. We want no persuasion bias here. Maybe some confirmation bias when you've done yours and you see, oh, theirs are actually similar to Amanda's or something. So for now, thanks for joining me and connecting with the Fife movement. As you go about your day today, remember, wealth is coming your way. Your quest is to prepare for using it well, and knowing your true priorities is a great quest to undertake. For more tips on how to prepare, be sure to subscribe. And to connect with the community, visit fifemovement.com. And if my gift has helped you today, please pay that gift forward by sharing this content with a friend. My gratitude in advance. To help this video be seen by more people, please hit the like button, and we invite your feedback in the comments as well.